are going to need it for your paper. The other thing is, in trying to get you to understand how the paper's going to look and how you're going to use things, I was drawing some pictures. What we're going to do next is actually looking at your, and I will scan this and put it online. Go ahead and turn to page 12 because we're going to do the body paragraph outline. You basically, when you write this paper, and this, what we're working on today is just the body paragraph outline. We're not talking about the introduction or the conclusion. We're going to do that work on Friday. But how your paper is going to end up looking is you've got your whole introduction. You start with a hook. You introduce your topic. You give us information. You set us up with what you're going to be talking about, and then you hit us with your thesis at the very end of that paragraph. And then you transition into your first body paragraph. One of the questions I was asked earlier today was, you start out that body paragraph 1 with the topic sentence. They asked, well, can I just write my first question as my topic sentence? And well, no, you just would turn your question around into a statement. Because my first question is, how does school uniforms promote higher learning outcomes? So I would say, wearing school uniforms promotes higher learning outcomes in schools, or something to that effect. Then everything I'm doing as I'm building my outline, the outline's function is to kind of give you guys a chance to organize what you're going to say. You thought about your topic, you've collected all this research, you've made note cards. I can find mine. Here's mine. I realized that I have some work to do. My strongest body of work comes really from the positive school climate that wearing uniforms promotes. I had a really hard time. There wasn't a lot of scientific data out there that supported my idea that promoting learning outcomes or wearing uniforms would promote higher learning outcomes for kids. A lot of people out there saying, that our school is a better place. People were in school, they were in attendance more. They didn't feel as threatened because they didn't feel the socioeconomic pressures or having to fit in. Those kinds of things, and because they were here in school, all that positively impacted our learning, but there hasn't been real hardcore data that says that it happens. So I decided for me, I'm probably going to talk about that a little later on. I'm going to start my paper with my strong suit, which for me is the positive outcomes for the school climate as far as wearing school uniforms. So when I look at my note cards, I've got all these that have to do with school climate. So I need to kind of decide for myself, I want to start out strong and kind of work my way through, and how am I going to manage that? And then my second part was bullying, and that one was hard. That one was hard to find. So when I'm looking at for my visual, I start with my topic sentence that addresses my first question. Now I need to kind of weave in all the information I found, give the reasons I would do something, state why, and then back it up with my evidence. And then at the end of my first body paragraph, I'm going to wrap up my idea and then transition to my second body paragraph. Keep redoing the process over and over until I get to the conclusion. So physically, it's going to look probably like a 5-paragraph essay, except for the sense that depending on how I set up some of my body paragraphs, some of my body paragraphs might be 2 paragraphs. It just kind of depends on how I set it up. Now, how we're doing the outline today is pretty formulaic in the sense that we're asking you to find, give your first detail, give your reason, and give your evidence behind it. When you go to write it, we're going to talk about more of this on Wednesday. You're going to kind of weave those ideas. It doesn't need to be like a robotic. Part of writing a good research paper at this point is you're taking all the information I have from my outline and then turning it into a nice, readable paper. Not so choppy where I could just, like if I had a machine that I could just put all my note cards in, you could just spit it out for me all nice and neat. But that's where the human touch comes in. Those kinds of problems. So what I'm going to do, do you guys have a question? Because I keep seeing all these little hand signals. You guys good?
Yeah.
Okay, it's making me up. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to build my outline. So I've got 2. I want to find a clean one. You can do this too. You can turn to page 12. Once you get your final thesis, you could write it up there, but for now I don't have mine yet either, but I do know my topic is school uniforms. So you can write your topic down, because you have to do this for homework, and you will get started on it here with me right now. Okay, so I decided my first strongest body of work came from how school uniforms impacted school climate. So, school climate. My detail one is they talked about how I found this research by this lady, Virginia Draw. Research showed improvements in attendance, rates, not just that, sorry, attendance, suspension rates, and graduation rates. I'm going to show you. I should have done that first. Look at my cards talking about school climate. I have this one that talks about Virginia Draw, and she said she did, it was in 2004. And what I liked about this is she talked about how her final analysis surprised her. I really went into this thinking uniforms don't make a difference, but I came away seeing that they do. At these schools, they do. I was absolutely for it. And to me, that was one of the more powerful statements I found. It was more recent work. So that's why I wanted to start my paragraph off with her. And then I have some notes on here too. This is where I struggled. She talked about how it made positive impact on attendance, graduation rates, and suspension rates, which is exactly what I wrote in my outline. But she said it was inconclusive that they were not able to make the connection to academic improvement because of these factors. So this is where I have to be really careful when I'm doing my paper. I can't say something just because I want to say it. I have to be able to say what I have facts and evidence to back up. So that's why I'm only talking about attendance, suspension rates, and graduation rates, but I'm saying that helps the school climate. Because there are uniforms made it so kids actually attended school, stayed at school, they more of them graduated school, and cut down on behavior problems, because there weren't as many people being suspended. Now my evidence is this person, so I would say according to Ms. Draw. And I'll probably put, when I write my paper, just for the outline, I made myself a note. But I'm going to note that she's assistant professor at Youngstown State University. And it was a research she conducted. And I got to find where she did it. And you know what? I have to go back because I don't have it written down. I can't even remember. So I'm going to have to go back to my research paper, look at my articles, and look up what school she, or what district where she did this. I'm assuming, oh, here it is. I do have it. Yay me. 64 public schools, high schools in Ohio. So 64 schools, public schools. Because that's important. That's my evidence. Now I need to kind of think about, okay, so I talked about the attendance suspension, how else is it positively helping the school funds? I've got one note card that talks about a sense of belonging and school pride. Another one that talks about diminishing economic and social barriers between students. Promoting good discipline and values. These are some of the ones supporting positive behavior and discipline. These are some of the things I'm going to need to decide what I'm going to pull in next to my body paragraph. So that's why you have your note cards, so you can go back through and see how you want to build your paper. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Do you guys see what I'm doing here for my note cards? Do you have questions for me? Okay, I'm going to have Jake stop.